Welcome, public managers, system architects, and future forward thinkers. Today, we are jumping right into a really crucial explanator on urban digital sovereignty. We'll be basing this technical breakdown on a massive, comprehensive survey titled Decentralized Architectures in Smart Cities. It was put together by Raphael Z. France alongside a brilliant international team of researchers. As we explore the architecture that's going to power the municipalities of tomorrow, I'm going to guide you through the critical choices you face when designing public digital infrastructure completely from the ground up.
Okay, here's our game plan for the lesson. We're going to define the real vision of smart cities, look at the very real dangers of centralization, and then explore the decentralized alternative. After that, we'll cover protecting citizen privacy, run through 4 essential guidelines for you as managers, and wrap up with how to actually achieve digital sovereignty. Let's get right to it. So, kicking things off with the vision of smart cities, what are we actually talking about when we move past the buzzwords? A smart city isn't just a few sensors on a streetlight. It is a hugely complex ecosystem of digital services that absolutely have to interoperate. To put that into perspective, a single autonomous municipal vehicle can generate up to 4 terabytes of data in just one day. And that data doesn't just vanish. It feeds into a massive 4-layer model. Down at the very bottom, you've got the hardware layer, the IoT sensors and antennas built right into the concrete of the city. Then there's the data layer, sweeping up everything from traffic congestion to weather patterns. Above that sits the business service layer, processing the rules, and finally, the user application layer at the top. Think about a citizen. Let's call her Alice. She simply taps her phone to book a smart city transit ride. That one tiny action actually triggers identity checks, live geolocation, traffic monitors, and billing protocols. It is literally a constantly pulsing web of information. But here's the thing, we have to talk about the structural risks in how these layers are normally built, specifically the danger of centralization. As public managers, you face a massive choice here. Do you surrender control to familiar, centralized big tech monopolies, or do you step up and build resilient, decentralized networks? I get it, it is incredibly tempting to just grab a mature, ready-to-use cloud architecture from a global giant. They give you beautiful dashboards, great performance, and they handle the heavy lifting. But there is a massive hidden cost. The network architecture you choose today literally dictates who owns and controls your city tomorrow. Look at the traditional centralized hub-and-spoke model. You've essentially got a corporate authority sitting right in the middle, like a king holding a crown over all your data flows. Every single request, every scrap of citizen data has to flow through their servers. That creates a terrifying single point of failure. If that massive cloud provider goes down, or if they just decide to change their corporate policies, boom, your essential municipal services go down with them. Plus, it locks your city entirely into their ecosystem. Try innovating or adding a new service 5 years from now, it's going to be super expensive and entirely subject to their approval. And that brings us to a severe warning regarding privacy. Relying on these monopolies completely shatters the trust your citizens place in municipal solutions. In centralized models, the provider essentially acts as a giant data warehouse. And let's be real, their business model usually revolves around monetizing the very data your city generates. Urban data is rich behavioral data, so when citizens use a city service, their deeply sensitive information can be grabbed, profiled, and used haphazardly, often without any real authorization. It completely breaks the core social contract between the city and its people.
All right, so what's the architectural alternative to this glaring vulnerability? The answer is bypassing that middleman entirely, using a peer-to-peer or P2P overlay network. We are taking that king's crown and throwing it right out. No central authority. Instead, nodes interact directly with one another. Your mobile phones, local municipal servers, smart traffic lights, they all volunteer as peers. They share local data and communication links to sustain the whole network collectively. By leveraging this P2P setup, your city's data isn't sucked up by some distant cloud provider. It stays securely within the community. Trust isn't blindly placed in a corporation. It's mathematically decentralized and validated by the network itself. And the coolest part is that it self-heals. It's kind of like a smart highway system. If a tree falls and blocks one road, traffic just routes around it through other streets. If a storm takes out a local server, the P2P network just routes the data through the nodes that are still online. The city doesn't skip a beat. Let's look at how this actually translates into concrete, tech-level protections for citizen privacy. The first crucial building block is identity. Instead of forcing citizens to use big tech logins, which instantly exposes their activity to advertisers, you can implement self-sovereign identity, or SSI. It acts like a digital bouncer. With decentralized ID systems, like the Trust Chain ID being developed at the Alan Turing Institute, a citizen can securely prove they live in the municipality to access a service, but they don't have to hand over their exact street address or birth date to a third-party corporation to do it. The second building block is processing. The researchers actually highlight a real-world issue in Santa Rosa, Brazil, where city departments couldn't safely share public health data because they couldn't protect it once it left their specific silo. That is where privacy-enhancing technologies, or PETs, come into play. These advanced cryptographic methods let you process highly sensitive stuff like hospital capacity or health records across different departments without ever storing unauthorized copies. The data stays totally secure even while it's being actively analyzed. So, as system architects and policymakers, how do you actually pull off this transition? Let's walk through a practical framework. Here are 4 specific guidelines that act as your roadmap. Step 1, rigorously test performance and scalability. You've got to make sure the decentralized tech can handle the sheer volume of a modern city's traffic during peak hours. Step 2, verify privacy and security at the code level. Data sovereignty isn't just a policy, it has to be enforced by the tech. Step 3, absolutely mandate interoperability. Build with open APIs so different services can talk to each other freely without vendor lock-in. And Step 4, establish new community governance models. Without a corporate CEO running things, accountability and maintenance have to be thoughtfully distributed among city stakeholders. When you weigh the architectural trade-offs, a very clear picture emerges. Centralization definitely offers high, predictable performance right out of the box, but the inescapable cost is a catastrophic single point of failure and zero privacy control. Decentralization, on the other hand, is definitely a more complex road. It requires your IT teams to build expertise, but it structurally guarantees privacy and resilience. There is no central point to attack, and your local sovereignty is completely preserved. The long-term payoff is just massive. Which brings us to our final section, achieving true digital sovereignty. Implementing these technologies is ultimately about a fundamental shift in civic philosophy. A smart city has to treat its data as communal wealth, not as a corporate commodity. When you adopt open-source P2P protocols and strictly avoid vendor lock-in, you aren't just making an isolated IT choice. You are actively creating an inclusive digital environment. You're ensuring that local small businesses can build new software, plug into the municipal network, and directly participate in the economy. You are empowering local talent rather than forcing your city to act as a passive data farm for global monopolies. I want to leave you with this final, critical thought for your municipality as you design the public infrastructure of tomorrow. Will you step up and own your digital future, or will you merely rent it? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning the systems around you, and I'll catch you next time.